As a follow-up to why none of you should buy an RTX 3070, even though I said GTX the last time we did one of these.
Well, that's right, RTX.
The RTX 3070, you should buy the RTX 3080, unless, of course, you're going to wait for the TIs or the Supers, which is a possibility. I've got some math for you guys to take a look at. We're going to pull up this lovely chart here. Now, some of these are rumors, and some of these are factual. There are rumored 20 gig 3080s and TIs, and there's rumored TI and Super on the 3070. But for the purposes of this conversation, we're just going to talk about the confirmed cards that are actually coming, which is 8,704 cores on the 3080 10 gig card and 5,888 cores on the 3070. Now the VRAM is different, but we'll get to that in just a second.
So they can see it. There we go.
There we go. So the number of cores on a 3080 is 8,704. So if we take 8,704 and we divide it by the $700 launch price, you get a cost of $12.43. No, I take that back. You get a core count of 12.43 cores per dollar that you spend. I did the math the reverse way. So for every dollar you spend, you get 12 cores. On the other hand, if we do, open up a duplicate of this, if we do 5,888 cores, and we divide that by the $500 launch price of the RTX 3070, you get 11.77 cores per dollar that you spend. You get more cores per dollar on the more expensive card. It almost never works like that. Usually, you get less. You get less cores. Like a 2080 Ti, you get fewer cores per dollar than a 2080.
Well, you get nearly 12.5 on the 3080 versus 11. Nearly 12.
So on a pure CUDA core count, you're getting, now, not all games scale equally. The more cores you add, to some extent, it doesn't scale perfectly. But in this case, if we come back over here, we have 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 on the 3070. We have 10 gigabytes of GDDR6X. Now, I incorrectly stated in the last video that it was double the performance. It's actually 50% faster. It adds 4 bits per clock instead of 2, but it's they don't call it QDR because, as somebody pointed out to me, it's actually 1.5x the memory bandwidth. But 50% more memory bandwidth will feed those 8,700 cores in a way that if they had the same speed VRAM, those cores might actually be RAM starved. And you have 20% more VRAM. So for $500 versus $700, you get absolutely every penny you're paying and then some in CUDA cores, and 50% faster RAM, and 20% more RAM. And when you consider that there's a cost to buying a card, installing it in your computer, using it, the more often you cycle cards, the more money you lose. Even if you sell them on eBay or whatever, you lose money when you go and you sell your used card. You have to buy a new card. You got to change it out and everything else. If you just buy a decent card like a 3080 and use it for a while, then your ownership costs get spread over a longer period of time. If you're in the market for a premium card, if you've got $500 to spend, I would submit that in terms of total cost of ownership, you will be able to keep the 3080 for longer. It'll maintain its performance for longer.
And its value.
And its value. And when you go to resell it, a 3080 will be worth more than a 3070. And so the $200 price difference today might actually only be a $100 price difference, because if 3 years from now, a 3080 is worth $100 more than a 3070, then it's only cost you $100 over 3 years, which is $33. It's cost you $3 a month to have almost 9,000 CUDA cores.
With the special VRAM.
That strikes me as a pretty reasonable deal.
Most people don't think like that, though.
Well, that's why I'm doing the math. I'm trying to break this down and help people see why I think the 3080 is a really good deal. Now, we may see Supers and TI variations of the 3070 and 3080, which change this equation.
Exactly. So, depending on when you're watching this, it's likely to change.
The answer is, but
it depends.
And we're recording this, by the way, on September 10th,
2020.
So we don't have the cards yet, but we'll see when they come out. Well, of course, the 3070 won't be out till October. There'll be a month before we can actually benchmark that.
Correct.
That's what we have to say about that.
That's what we have to say about that.